Time to update the Christmas lights for the season. This is the old flashing lights, so you can see, pretty ugly 5mm LEDs and smothered in hot glue. First thing I wanted to do was to have a look at maybe updating the actual code. So I've put it on the ATTiny13 running at 128 kilohertz, so just chugging along really. And the flashing an 1/8 of a second alternate red and green with, I think it's just about a half-second interval between the two. So it works on the breadboard. Next thing to do is to maybe have a go at making one, see what it looks like. Alright, so the old and the new. The old has got the same coin cell cover. I like these ones because the actual connectors stick up a little bit, so they might make it easy to connect. So I like that. There are others there and they'll work just as well, but yeah, I just happen to like these ones. So the coin cell is the same, or the coin cell holder, and then there's an ATTiny13 buried underneath all that hot glue, so that's the same. I have changed the frequency of the flashing, so from memory I think this one is 1/4 of a second on, no, 1/8 of a second on, and then 1 second off, and it'll alternate between the two. So that's similar, but the timing's a bit faster because I think these just spend too long asleep. Although if you've got 10 of them lined up, you don't tend to notice it. But anyway, I have increased the frequency here so that there's a little more action. Going back to when I first made these, which was about 3 years ago, I only had 3 or 5mm round LED, so that's what's there. I now tend to use the 1206 SMDs, so that'll be a bit of a difference. I don't recall why I did it, but the actual adapter is up on header pins, so it actually sits up quite high. So I'm going to put this one nice and flat on there as well. And then in order to make the connection from the LEDs to ground, I'm going to go via this 100 ohm resistor. And that's about it. Yeah, so anyway, we'll put it all together and we'll see how it looks in comparison to the old one, which needs a bit of a cleanup. It's been sitting out there for 2 years. I replace the cells about every 9 to 12 months. That's how long they last. It's phenomenal because the ATTiny13 is actually just sitting there, kicking along. Well, it's asleep most of the time. And interestingly, because I did cover these with hot glue, I wasn't able to reprogram them. So they are running, I think, at 1 megahertz, whereas this one will be running at 128 kilohertz. So even though this will flash more, like it'll be on more, I suspect that I'll still get at least 6 months of flashing from this coin cell battery. These aren't, really great coin cell batteries. They're actually from the local dollar store, so they are of the order of about, I think 8 for $2 or something like that. So yeah, so they're very cheap. So the whole thing put together, I don't know what it costs. It's under $1 probably, and good little Christmas decorations all year round, night and day. Anyway, let's put it together. So here's a time lapse which didn't go exactly according to plan. Just putting on the ATTiny13 on top of the adapter now, but then when I went to do some testing, I actually had the multimeter leads the wrong way around, so that took a little while to sort out. So yep, all good to go now. And there was a further problem to do with the iPad and storage. But anyway, you get the idea. The build is pretty simple. In the end, I could knock off half a dozen or so in about 20 to 25 minutes. So some sort of production line going on. But anyway, here we go. Losing picture. So thanks to Apple deciding I needed an operating system upgrade, even though I didn't ask for one, and they needed to download it onto my iPad, even though I didn't want them to, thus using up all my space. We lost the last little bit of the build because the iPad just ran out of space. But there wasn't that much to go. I just wanted to show you, I guess, so I had no idea how I was going to put this together when I first started, because I did know that I wanted to make it flatter. What I ended up deciding to do was put the 100 ohm resistor here coming out of pin number 4, which is ground, going to ground to the battery, and then we've got the positive side here, so it's about 3.3 volts coming out and going to pin 8, which is VCC of the ATTiny13. And then using the 1206 LEDs, I thought it might be worth having a try to just put some like a pad of solder into the hole for both PB3 and PB4. So that's pin number 2 and pin number 3 on this adapter, and then run one of the legs of the resistor here up through the hole and out the side here as a sort of like a ground rail, and then I just breached across here from one side to the other, and it worked. So yeah, that seems to be good. It's pretty flat, and well, certainly flatter than what it, yeah, so it's pretty good. I'm going to put some hot glue in there now. I'll put the pictures of the close-up of it up here in the corner, so you can have a look at that as well before the hot glue goes on and uglifies it. I might just put either no hot glue or just a little bit of hot glue over the top of here, just for sealing of this area. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I might think of another solution for that as well. But we'll put it all together anyway, and that will be Christmas. So here's the old and the new side by side. I know which one I prefer, and yeah, I think it's a pretty good result. This one hasn't got any hot glue, and in fact, I only ended up putting hot glue on one of them because at the moment they're all just sitting on the fridge. So one became 7. And yeah, I don't know. I just got carried away over a day or two, and we used to sit down for half an hour or so, and make 6 or so at a time. It's pretty quick. Got into a real rhythm after a while. What's really interesting about it is that you can make them flash, and then what they'll do is that they'll have this sort of appearance of a like a supercomputer or something like that. And it's amazing how the human mind looks for patterns when there aren't really any. If you focus on one of these little guys, then you can just see it's just blinking on and off. But if you sort of zoom out and you put more of them in, yeah, the eye looks for patterns, particularly in lower light. It's yeah, it's quite interesting. So that's Christmas done, and I'm actually going to take a little bit of a break from both the blog and the YouTube channel for a month or so. So yeah, there won't be any updates for probably about 4 weeks while everyone enjoys the Christmas lights and the Christmas break. And we'll see you back here in 2021, which surely must be better than 2020. It's been a very interesting year. But any comments or suggestions, please put them down below, and I'll see you next year. Just the last little thing I'll do is I'll just have that final close-up on on one of these little items, and that will be it. And there it is before the hot glue sets. That is the circuit working for 2020. See you next time.